At this time of year, when the weather is colder and wetter, and most plants are not looking at their best, I imagine public gardens around the UK don't get a lot of visitors. But you may have noticed recently a few places are now taking advantage of the early dark nights to host illumination displays. I visited 2 of these displays to find out what they're like, and took along my 2 children so I can review the events from the perspective of different age groups. The first Illuminations I went to is at RHS Wisley in Surrey, and the event is called Glow. Tickets are available to purchase online on the Wisley website, and entry is discounted for RHS members. Members can also take up to 2 children at a discounted rate, and under 5s are free. Tickets must be booked in advance, as there are only a limited number of tickets for each time slot. The first entry is from 4 p.m, and time slots are every 15 minutes. You can visit the garden before the event starts, but you'll have to leave the garden when it closes at 3:30 and wait for your time slot to re-enter. Once inside the garden, there is a designated route to follow, but you can make your way around at your own pace, and paths are pushchair and wheelchair friendly. There are several stalls selling Christmas gifts and festive food and drink at the entrance. There are also several photo points to create special memories as you go around the garden. During my visit, there were queues to use these, but they weren't long. The cafes in Wisley are also open and serving a small selection of meals, such as pasta and pizza dishes, for those wishing to time their dinner during the visit. I arrived early for the 4 p.m. slot, and at first it wasn't quite dark enough to fully appreciate the lights, although they did still look pretty. It wasn't long, however, before the last of the daylight disappeared and the illuminations could fully be appreciated at their best. I was a little sceptical before arriving at Glow, thinking that once you've seen a few colourfully illuminated plants, surely it must feel a bit repetitive. However, this was not the case, and as the path takes you through a journey around the garden, with each new area bringing something different to appreciate. Some of the lights were even interactive, changing colour when the sensors were touched, which was very popular with the younger visitors. There's even a children's story of the tale of Jack Frost being played as you walk around, narrated by Alan Titchmarsh and with music composed by Debbie Wiseman. Many of the light displays are timed with the music. Wisley Glow is probably not the best time to appreciate individual plants if your interest is primarily botanical. For a start, you're not free to wander around the whole garden, so I was unable to see the exotic garden, for example. Plants that are illuminated do look spectacular, and it's an opportunity to really showcase some outstanding plants. But of course, with the coloured lighting, you're not seeing the beautiful natural colours, and not all the plants are illuminated, so some do get lost in the dark. I can see that this might not appeal to everyone. Personally, I thought the coloured lighting, combined with the unusual aspect of seeing the garden after dark, added an interesting element to the garden, and if you'll excuse the pun, allowed me to see the garden in a new light. Around every corner, I was always surprised by the beauty and intrigue that the staff at Wisley have managed to create. The route does take you through the glasshouse, entering through the moist temperate zone and taking you through both the tropical glasshouse and the dry temperate zone, although you cannot access the rest of the glasshouse. Tree ferns, cycads, and succulents are all illuminated, along with many other plants, and there are still several flowers to enjoy in November. As the route comes to its conclusion, you'll pass beneath a beautifully lit pergola towards the lily pond, and although you will struggle to appreciate the water lilies growing there, this is the setting for the final part of the Jack Frost story, with a water fountain display set to the time of the dramatic musical finale, light projected into the sky, and the wonderful Wisley house illuminated in changing colours. It's a fitting end to the evening. All in all, it took me 2.5 hours to go round the whole garden. This includes stopping off for dinner halfway through and stopping to film the lights frequently as I went around. I really enjoyed the experience and would definitely go again. More surprisingly, both my 6-year-old and my 17-year-old really enjoyed themselves, which makes a nice change from my usual experience of dragging them round gardens. Both said they would go again, and my youngest was particularly in love with the water fountain display, wanting to watch it again and again. In fact, it was difficult to drag her away, and she was very disappointed when she realised that we'd reached the end and it was time to go home. There were plenty of other very young children there when I visited, who all appeared to be enjoying the experience too, so this certainly would be a suitable outing for the whole family. Next up, I visited Staunton Farm in Hampshire for their Illumination display, which is run by Enlightened Moments. This is an external organisation that have illumination displays in locations around the UK. I had originally booked my tickets for a Saturday, but the event was cancelled due to a storm. However, changing the tickets was easy and I visited midweek. I was expecting this to be a much smaller event than Wisley Glow, simply because the grounds are much smaller, but I thought the setting in the farm might be interesting. Unfortunately, the animals were not there. I assume they were moved for their protection, but it was still a very different kind of event from Wisley. Again, visitors follow a set route around the farm and gardens. It is wheelchair and pushchair accessible, however paths can get a little bit muddy and slippery, and they are gravel studded, with some roots protruding in places, and there's also a downward slope at one point which some may find a little more tricky. The light show itself had many elements similar to those at Wisley, with plants illuminated with colour and different light displays in different areas of the park. There were a lot more interactive displays for children, as well as photo opportunities, both of which had little or no queues, although this may be different at weekends. I did, however, feel that I needed to rush my children once they had a turn to prevent queues building, and I think they would have liked more time to enjoy the activities. The most notable difference at Staunton Enlightened was the use of light technology to provide animations, including games, stories, and a wonderful walk around a fairy garden with fairies appearing to be in cages and illuminated fairy doors at the base of trees. This provided a magical experience for younger children. The path also takes visitors through the Staunton Maze, where you may struggle not just to find the middle, but also the exit to continue your journey. Unfortunately, the path does not take you through Staunton Glasshouse, so I was unable to see the beautiful tropical plants illuminated, which I think is a missed opportunity. However, the glasshouse itself is still a lovely sight, illuminated in various colours. Overall, both my children enjoyed the experience, but they did feel they preferred Wisley Glow. It took about an hour to walk around, and although refreshments are provided halfway round, we didn't stop off on this occasion. I felt the event was a bit more suited to younger children, while Wisley may appeal more to adults. However, it's still a great place to visit for the whole family. If you're enjoying the content of Freya's Tropical Garden, then please help this channel grow by subscribing. Every new subscriber is appreciated, and by turning on notifications to my videos, you can also make sure that you don't miss any episodes in future. You can also follow me on social media, where I'll release links to my latest videos, as well as share my flower of the day. You can follow me on X, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, or join my Facebook group to engage in discussions and share your own photos. Freya's Tropical Garden webpage also has links to my videos and helpful advice. And now, in order to support the continued growth of this channel, there is an option of becoming a member, which will give you access to a private Facebook group where I'll be running monthly competitions exclusively for members, as well as additional exclusive content. And as always, I welcome your feedback in the comments below.